we were talking about the carnivore diet, I remember you were in some video, versus carnivore, thinking about it, and you talked a lot about the soft endpoints and hard endpoints, and I find it really interesting that, you hear all these people who, and you see them, like I've seen people on the carnivore diet who look jacked, their like muscles are like protruding and they're getting like beefier, and they just are saying they feel so good, I'm off this medication, my diabetes is good, blah, 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 blah. And you said soft endpoints versus hard endpoints.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the word soft endpoint, we mentioned earlier today that you're looking something that, like, you lost weight, your sugar went down, your triglycerides improved, your cholesterol improved. Those are markers. Those are soft endpoints, which are short term.
Right.
Hard endpoints you need decades to get to look at.
Would cancer be a hard endpoint?
Yes.
Heart disease,
Yes.
stroke. These are things.
Those are hard endpoints.
And these are hard endpoints of the carnivore
The reason why
diet.
we give a person a cholesterol-lowering drug that lowers cholesterol, because we suspect it's going to reduce the risk of heart attack. We don't know for sure if lowering cholesterol with a drug is going to have the same effect that lowering cholesterol with a diet. So maybe lowering cholesterol with a drug is not going to reduce heart attack risk. It looks like it would, but we need to see the hard endpoint.
Oh, because you're saying the soft endpoints there, sure, but you want to see the long-term effect.
We don't know for sure until we see your long-term studies.
For sure.
So we have people advocating these diets, distorting the literature, and trying to ignore the huge amount. We're talking about thousands of studies involving tens of thousands of researchers looking at hard endpoints with people following the various diets for decades and studying them. And they're saying, they always look to some reason why they just throw the study out. We don't want to consider that study any credence. So they're just about excluding.
But it's so easy to say that for the record.
Yeah.
You're like, what about this study? And I've heard so many people in their movement just be like, that doesn't make any sense. And you're like, it makes a lot of sense. And it's just.
They just want to exclude the reality.
Yeah.
And we have people in politics excluding reality.
You can distort the evidence. It's crazy. And
have different beliefs because they want to believe what they want to believe.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we see it in news outlets all the time. Same topic, very different perspectives and perceptions of whatever you choose your reality to be.
And people don't know who to trust. And according to me, they shouldn't trust anybody.
Okay, but can I just tell you how funny this is? Because I was thinking about it in the shower. I'm like washing my hair, and I'm like, I love the nutritarian diet, but he's my dad. Like, what if you were my dad and I didn't agree with it, or like, how would I know it's right in my head? And I'm wondering like why I'm so eager to trust you. I thought about this because I love the diet. I'm passionate about it. I work with you. And I think my view on it is you tell us to eat whole fruits and vegetables, like whole foods, without pesticides, organic. This stuff makes sense to me, obviously. Vegetables are good. I can accept that as a fact. And then also you say to eat such a wide variety. You're like, you want to eat some carbs, you want to eat some fat, you want to eat some protein. All of it, comes in these natural forms. It's in all of these foods. All of these whole foods have them. And it makes me feel good. But you have us eat such a variety, nuts and seeds, beans. And like, some people see you as so strict. I don't see you as that strict. You're like, eat real foods, enough to make you feel good, don't overdo it, and have a huge variety of foods. Like, what is bad about that? And it makes me so satiated and feel so good. So I love that you don't, you include nuts and seeds. Even like, there's a question on coconut milk, and we'll get to later. But like, even if I were to put coconut milk or a very high fat food in my stuff, you'd be like, yeah, use a little bit, it's fine. Like, you eat a healthy diet. I don't see you as radical.
That's because the American diet is so radical. Mm-hmm. But comparatively to people who eat 60% of their diet from processed foods and 33% from animal products, they only eat 2% calories from vegetables.
Right.
The American diet is so radical. And so people are on a race to commit suicide because all they eat is self-destructive meals. And they eat so badly that comparatively it makes us healthy eaters look radical.
Right.
But we're not the radical ones.
But like,
they're the radical ones.
Well, I'm at the Orange County Fair, and I understand what you're saying because every food is fried, blackened, all this stuff that I know the science behind it, and tons of oil, ice cream, like so much processed foods. I thought I was gonna convulse because I don't want people recreating like that.
Well, they flood. We have a medical care crisis where hospitals are flooded with people dying and having these diseases and having. Right, and everybody's on drugs for their heart and high blood pressure, and people are dying of heart attacks. And what's the number one cause of death in America in adults? Heart attacks.
Right.
So we have all these people dropping dead of dietary-related diseases, and then eating healthy is considered radical. That's just society is just so distorted. So
and then again, you're saying fad diets are restricting something or like not doing it for your life or doing it temporarily, and then you have these low-fat vegan diets, which I also just feel like. Why are you restricting something that's naturally occurring in food? Like, it just makes sense to eat a bit of all of it. It's all good for you and has its purpose, right?
Right. I think yes. The point you're making and I'm making is that the extremely low-fat vegan diet has taken over as the major voice behind the plant-based movement.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
You don't agree with that?
Well, I mean, I know you see it, and maybe you see it, and there have been some very loud people in your life, but I do feel like so many people I see also eating like me, and where they like beans, and I go to restaurants and I see like everything's in like a nutty cream sauce and stuff like that. So when I go, I don't see like a ton of low fat stuff, but I think it's like, why would I want to add avocado to my vegan meal, like, or to my, that would make it so much more delicious.
Such a large part of the vegan or plant-based community have made people fear eating nuts and seeds or avocado as if there's something unhealthy about them. And some of these groups don't even put nuts and seeds in their food group, on their plate or their pyramid or whatever.
And you think they're vital, they're important.
Well, if you were going to ask me, what does the scientific literature show is the most protective food a person could eat to reduce the risk of heart attack, the answer would be nuts and seeds.
No way.
And we're talking about, in major studies, in more than 20 studies from around the world, with large scale, large numbers of people looking at hard endpoints, show that when you remove nuts and seeds, that when you include nuts and seeds, you reduce heart attack risk by 40%. And that's benefits of dramatic increasing or decreasing risk of heart attack is shown in all population groups, including people on plant-based diets as well. The Seventh-day Adventist Health Study 2, for example, follows Seventh-day Adventists living in California who advocate strong plant-based diets, and as they, in all groups, even those on vegan or near-vegan diets, as they went from a half an ounce a day of nuts and seeds or less to an ounce and a half of nuts and seeds or more, the risk of heart attack deaths switched by 40%. So
you keep hitting your mic.
So the risk of, we're saying here that the exclusion of nuts and seeds and the exclusion of fat down to below 10% or below, like these nutritional advocates are recommending, increases risk of all-cause mortality, cancer deaths, and heart attack deaths in those people who are healthy people who don't have heart attacks and cancers yet, but also in people who have heart disease already. So some people, they argue that, nuts and seeds are okay, but when you have heart disease, it's better to cut out nuts and seeds. That's not true. The opposite is true. By cutting out all the fat of the diet to make it below 10%, you increase the person's risk of atrial fibrillation, cardiac arrhythmias, and sudden cardiac death. Jeez. So we're saying dropping fat intake below 15% in the diet, because we're talking they're dropping it to 10%. And I'm saying the fat intake should be between 15 and 25%, not below 10%. Mm-hmm. You're decreasing a person's chance to live a healthy and happy life in later years. So you have that. You have I'm not saying the majority, but I'm saying a large voice in the plant-based community is advocating a non-fad diet. It's not healthy long-term compared to a diet that would include nuts and seeds, right? Mm-hmm. They're extracting a whole food group for a reason that does not make scientific sense and the overwhelming amount of evidence shows that you're better off not doing that, and that you're increasing the risk of harm by doing that.
Right.
Overwhelming amount of evidence.
Right. It's your definition of a fad diet.
Yeah, it's my definition of a fad diet.
What's their reasoning for including nuts and seeds? They think like they have too much fat content?
Yes, because years ago people thought, well, the reason why people are getting better on plant-based diets is because they're cutting out the fat. So might as well cut out the oils and the animal fats and the nuts and seeds, which are high in fat.
Right.
So they said it's the fat, it's the low fat doing the work.
But there's good fats, right? That's the whole consensus.
ALA, like the good fat coming from seeds and walnuts, let's say, the ALA, has been shown to stabilize the heart against atrial fibrillation. Very important to get those fats in, yes.
Right.
But so we're...
And just a side note, they're stinking delicious. I have these nut and seed crackers. Like, I would be so sad if you told me no more.
Sure.
They're so good.
And you make desserts and dressings and creamy sauce.
God.
How could you eat it? The diet is just not as satisfying.
I will say the vegan movement is very pro-avocado from my view on it.
So the view is because there's been some studies by certain people, certain physicians who have taken people with advanced heart disease and put them on plant-based diets or vegan diets and taken the nuts and seeds out. And these people had better outcomes. I
assume that would be true, actually. Yeah. Better is not best.
Better is not best. And I've also produced studies, parallel studies to that, showing just as good or better outcomes, with better outcomes, actually, long-term. And I published a study, I have it right here, that was published in Improved cardiovascular parameters with nutrient-dense plant-rich diet style, published in 2015 in the Journal of Lifestyle Medicine. And I have a study right here, was published in the International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention in 2020, called Nuts and Seeds for Heart Health. It's called, the title of the study is Nuts and Seeds for Heart Disease Prevention, published in the International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention with over 50 scientific references.
Wow.
Right. So I want people to look at that if they're interested. So it's like saying, because this one doctor studied a limited number of people, like 50 people, and he found that overall they did better without nuts and seeds, that means everybody with heart disease is better off cutting out nuts and seeds. Well, that's not true. That's just to live.
Although you helped them, you can recognize like you helped them.
It's better than what they were eating before. He made a lot of help to them. That's like saying Dean Ornish's studies, which also showed reversal, allowed people to have egg whites and low-fat milk, low-fat yogurt in the program. Still better,
still good outcome.
Still good outcome because it was better than having what they were eating before. And just because they allowed, I don't recommend people have egg whites and low-fat yogurt with heart disease, but that's better to have that. But it's like saying, okay, everybody who has heart disease needs to eat egg whites and low-fat yogurt, or they're not going to reverse their heart disease just because this study, well, that's what they ate, and it reversed their heart disease.
Right.
No, you can't base these data on those 2 studies.
Right.
We have to look at 100 studies that study the same thing.
Right.
And we look at hundreds of studies that study heart disease patients, normal people, and we know that the same thing that prevents disease helps people have disease, not die of it. The same diet that prevents cancer helps people with cancer live longer and not get recurrence. The same people that prevents heart disease and high blood pressure helps people with heart disease live longer. So we have an unusually amount of study, more than 100 studies, maybe even 1,000 studies that contradicts this idea that removing all the fat of the diet is beneficial. And you don't get the absorption, you don't get the maximally absorption of phytochemicals and antioxidants because so many nutrients, important nutrients, are fat soluble. You need the fat content in the meal to absorb these nutrients at a higher rate into the bloodstream. And we're talking about 20 to 50 times as much absorption of anti-cancer phytochemicals when you have a certain amount of fat present in the meal.
Wow.
Not being that low in fat. And of course, the accelerating of immunosenescence, of deterioration of the immune system with aging.
I was going to say, you should have seen my face when you said that word. I'm like, the what?
Oh.
You should have seen my face.
There's a natural weakening of the muscles and the bones and weakening of the immune system. People get older.
Immunosuppressant?
Immunosenescence.
Oh,
Immunosenescence.
Immunosenescence. Got it.
Right. The deterioration of the immune system as we age.
Okay.
And that is accelerated by putting your diet too low in fat, below 15%.
Wow. Yeah, I don't want to age faster.
So I'm saying that these nutritional leaders, they've influenced so much of the plant-based movement, and so people are fearful of eating of utilizing nuts and seeds in their diet, in spite of the thousands of studies that show they're wrong.
People are fearful of eating a lot. Like I will say, like I was going to say one of our questions, Kara made a dessert with coconut milk, and someone was like, "You can't have coconut milk. Didn't your dad teach you that?" And I'm like, we don't eat like an astronomically high amount of fats. Our diets are clean. There's a little bit going in our dessert. It's totally fine. Like I don't cook with oil. I feel confident in that level of fat that I'm totally fine. So we're not
drinking down coconut milk. You're just using a little bit in the recipe.
Totally. Or it's a dessert. So you're making, you're putting a whole can in a Vitamix and it serves 10 people or this and that. So it's like, it's all looking at how much you're using, what's a good amount. And your body tells you if you listen to it. Like it makes a little bit of dessert. Our desserts always come very small size, the perfect size in a ramekin, and they make us feel grateful and like we had a little sweet treat. But the fear behind some foods is, I don't know. Like I don't want fried foods. I don't enjoy processed foods. They don't make me feel good. I don't really see them as food, but I'm not fearful of them. They're just not appetizing to me. And I think that's a cool place to be. But to wrap it up, basically this makes sense to me why you call your diet the gold standard, because you're not just saying like you create a diet that's better than that's going to help you a bit, but you wanted to create a diet that's going to give you the best chance for a long, healthy life and to create the very best with using scientific studies and utilizing the research.
Yes, and it's somewhat, you could say the word disappointing or frustrating for me when I see people asking people on conferences, on the internet, different, and the other people are answering and giving them the information that's not in their best long-term interest. And
You're like, no.
yeah,
I know.
And I'm trying, and as I try to give them the opposite, different information, then of course a lot of times there is attack, bullying, personal attacks, all kinds of crazy people that it's just like politics. It's just
the internet is a scary place.
It's just, it's unbelievable.
But I will say it also makes so much sense, like our topic today, when people say, hey, what about the blue zone diets? What about the Mediterranean diet? People have been doing that. Those aren't fad diets. And you fully agree that they're pretty good diets. They're better diets, but you're saying it's not the best, especially with this level of toxins in the world and stuff, to give us the best chance of a no health problem life. Of a long, healthy
We know
life.
exactly what those diets give people.
Right.
Because we have a lot of studies on those.
Yeah.
And they give people between 6 to 8 years of extended lifespan, which is great.
Yeah, better.
Really great to
Yeah.
get 6 to 8 years of extended life and better life. But not compared to a nutritarian diet, which adds, 15 to 25 years of extended lifespan.
Right.
So it's like, let's look at a Mediterranean diet. What's right about it is giving a little bit extra lifespan. And what's wrong about it? And by the way, it's not the whole Mediterranean diet. It's just in certain areas of the Mediterranean where they're eating more carefully, which, But in any case, we wouldn't say, well, white pasta is in the American diet, so does that make pasta good food? It's the same thing with saying, cut out nuts and seeds. Just because they ate white pasta and they're doing better than ever, that means we're supposed to eat white pasta? So we have to look at this. And we also know that more than ever before, body fat dramatically shortens lifespan. So women should be below 25% body fat and men should be below 15% body fat. Once you go over 25 or 15% for a male and 25% for a woman, you see estrogen rise, inflammation rise, angiogenesis promotion rise, cancers rise. We age much faster.
Cool.
And so I'm not saying.
Wait, I said cool. I didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying like that's an interesting number to think about.
Yeah.
The number that just to clarify, because it's not.
So
cool.
so calories matter, and oil matters because it's a source of calories, and fat matters. And keep in mind, we want to make this very clear. A nutritarian diet gets its fat from nuts and seeds and avocados, and the conventional way of eating gets their fat from animal fats and oils. So I'm not saying we should get our fats from animal products and oils. When we get our fats from these whole foods, they get absorbed much more slowly, and they're not anywhere near as fattening as getting fats from animal fats and oils. So we still have to watch oil, but a little bit of olive oil is still better than a diet that's still below 10% of calories from fat, because it's too low in fat. You're better off having a little bit of olive oil than having no fat.
Can the low in fat diets like hurt your brain? Because that's where I go.
Yeah. Particularly when people have a low omega-3 index and they're eating a low-fat diet too, and that combination can be particularly harmful. But people will deny that, and they'll just ignore. And so I was listening to
Dad,
this.
they'll say anything.
They'll say anything and give people wrong information. I was listening. I got an email, came into my email, right? And it was blasted in from the Truth About Health, right? And this person was asked a question to this panel of vegan authorities. And so the person asked the question, my omega-3 index was 1. Do I have to be concerned, and what should I do? And what do you think what these two doctors said to this person?
No.
They said not to worry about it. Mm-hmm. They didn't say to them, well, we don't really know for sure, but there are, 15 studies showing low levels associated with brain shrinkage and dementia. 15 studies.
I'm laughing because that's so sad.
Why did they tell them about the 15 studies?
Right. It's like doctors, I guess people in general have this ego and they wanted to act like the confident person in the room with the answer. But sometimes it's okay to say like, I think that's what's so smart about some of the conversations that we have. You tell me the pros, you tell me the cons, and I weigh it for myself and take a course of action that I'm confident in. And that's what I respect so much about you as a doctor, friend, and father.
Thank you.
But seriously, it's good to give people the education.
Why did this doctor who was speaking, they were aware of these studies, I think, but there's so much bias that they didn't want to make a vegan diet look not perfect. So instead,
the confirmation bias is very real. They might not even be knowing they're doing it.
Oh, I think so. But it's funny because they could have said, but they said, oh, we don't even know if the level in the blood is related to the level in the brain or whatever it is. So don't worry about it. Vegans don't have more dementia anyway. The whole thing, all those answers are irrational. They're irrational.
Right. Because it is a concern. You say that's probably a concern of the vegan diet.
Vegans don't have more than SAD eaters. Well, that's not anything good because the SAD eater has a load of dementia. Because just comparing yourself, we don't compare high carb by comparing it to a junkyard wreck. I mean, just because vegans don't have more dementia than non-vegans doesn't justify any of us getting dementia.
It's like,
that's one argument. The other argument is anyway, we can go into it. But
I know we could talk about
we
it
could talk about it forever. We have to talk about it in the past. But it was frustrating because it just screwed this person by letting him get dementia or get a serious risk of disease and to increase his risk of early mortality just because of their confirmation bias. Because we know vegan diets are low in B12, zinc, DHA, K2, and possibly iodine and vitamin D as well. Vegan diet has some defects in it that if not conservatively supplemented, a person may be increasing their ideal lifespan.
Right.
It's still better than an American diet. How can you criticize a vegan diet? The person's living longer. They have less dementia. They have less heart attacks, less stroke. They have normal lifespan. Yeah, but I'm not talking about less stroke. I'm talking about maximizing their human potential so they don't have heart attacks, strokes, or dementia, and they live as long as possible. So just because they're doing better than an American eating a really terrible diet doesn't mean it's good. They don't get that. They don't get, you know.
And I understand the debate on multivitamins and supplements and DHA makes so much sense because I can understand that dangerous multivitamins loaded with fillers and additives and folic acid derived in a lab.
Or vitamin A and all kinds of things shouldn't be taken. That you get in
that you're putting into your body.
The nutrients that you get in plant foods, you don't need to take those.
For sure. But then I understand that if you make a clean, really good multivitamin, it makes sense on a vegan diet that you could be lacking some things to fill those gaps for your best chance at lifespan. But I get the debate of like why some would look better not taking any supplements and that the vegan diet's perfect.
They want the vegan diets look perfect.
Yeah. But it is really good. It's better than dying of obesity and high blood pressure and cancer and all these things. Like maybe that would, you get dementia old, like stuff like that. You know,
you're right.
You can see it all on a scale and you can make an argument for it depending on what you want.
That's right. In other words, even doing the vegan diet wrong, even not idealizing the supplements in the food.
Probably is better.
They're still going to do better and do compared to the standard American diet. They're still improving people's health. Yeah. It just frustrates me because I want to give them the best. I want to give them like
the correct answer. The scientist in you is like, but you should do this.
I don't want to like just improve their health over standard American diet. I want to get the maximum out of the person. Because these people are health enthusiasts and they want to know what to do is best and lower the risk the most, not just do better than the average person in America.
Because you're saying we have all that information, we have all the studies, we have all the education, we created a better diet. So why not do it?
We have so much information to really ratchet this up to really be more effective.
Amazing. Okay, thank you for joining us. And until next time, high five.
Be well, everybody.